Here at the Queens Project, we take our iteration demos very seriously, so please sit back and relax, grab a cold drink, a box of popcorn, and please enjoy our demonstration.
This penultimate iteration, I have been tasked with finishing not only the teacher list and being able to add and modify it, but also setting teacher preferences such as room and hours of availability. We have also begun work this iteration in setting up the web-based UI so that users on the other side can use it much more easily than we have.
So for the UI portion that Eric mentioned, I was working with Bonsall on doing our analytics page. Bonsall was focused on the user input, and I was focused on figuring out how to connect that to our output page with the results of the scripts being shown there. A good portion of our time was spent figuring out how to accomplish this task, and just as the iteration was wrapping up, we got one example fully fledged out from input to output, and now it'll be a very rapid process to implement the others in the first day or two of the final iteration.
For this iteration, me and Wallace were working with the UI, and to connect the views that we have for the analytics and homepage, we had to have controller which connects both of them, and for this iteration we were able to do that. And with that, we also created buttons which can link to a script, and it is working for most of our scripts, but we are trying to test more scripts and see if they work for that as well. And we also have many codes written for our scripts and for the UI part, which is commented out, but it will be uncommented next iteration.
For this iteration, our goal was to further implement data analytic procedures inside our program using the database we set in stone in the previous iteration. After gaining a firm understanding of the code that already existed within the project, we effectively built upon it in a meaningful way. We continued constructing Python scripts with queries that pull information from the database, which are almost entirely in the done category of our Taiga. We wrote these Python scripts with the needs of ourselves, users, and future pursuers of the project in mind. We also focused on usability, creating more information, and connecting the UI to Python scripts. Some of these were improvements on the last iteration's progress.
This iteration I worked on the room tags database again. I worked on populating it and finalizing how we want everything set up and to be working together. I ran into a couple problems with the EMS system, and that ended up not working out. I just selected it from the course table and filtered out all the empty strings and any other junk from it. And we now have a filled out RIMS tag database, and we have it set up.
For this iteration, I worked on a couple of Python scripts for data analysis. The first and major one I worked on this iteration was for room utilization. It shows how much a room is utilized per day or even per week. So, for example, on Monday, a class might be used 70% of the time, or like 8 out of its 10 total time slots for that day. And then the other major script I worked on was past enrollment for a course. This script wasn't super difficult, but I wanted to present the output into a graph to show growth and decline in enrollment of a course over time. And thankfully I got it done just as this iteration wrapped up. Aside from that, I worked on several smaller scripts to just clean them up and help present them for our final product.